Hey, it's great to have you with me here once again for Whizbang's blog and taking a look at the domain industry update. But let me tell you, there is some staggering data here for this week. There is one particular thing which I just want to be able to highlight to you, so don't go away. So welcome to Whizbang's blog. It's fantastic to have you here with me, and I'm really looking forward to this week. This week is going to be amazing, some of the data which is coming through. And I must admit, there's some stuff in there, as I mentioned in my intro, which it's the beginnings of a trend which I was wondering what's going on here, I must admit. And it should be pretty exciting what's happening. But anyway, without further ado, let's get stuck into the data. Okay, so week 16 domain industry update. So we're looking at the normalized RPM and RPM trends right here. And as we can see, just looking at that right-hand end a little bit, and the RPM is still kicking up. Well, the normalized RPM is flattened off, although it looks like the fifth order polynomial curve has really swung down. It actually hasn't. You take a look at the last few weeks, and you see the normalized RPM is flattened off. Now, the normalized RPM may get buffeted by things like, says, if there's some really big junky traffic domains coming in, adding like 50 million URLs a day or something like that. So it does get buffeted around a little bit like that. But on the whole, it is still quite flat. Okay, so that's that. But if we take a look at the next one here, this is zoomed in, looking at the normalized RPM and RPM. And we can see the normalized RPM is trending slightly down across the last 2 weeks. It's like zoomed in those last couple of weeks, and the RPM is going up. But ultimately, we're getting paid on the RPM, but the normalized RPM is what we use for routing traffic, and routing is really where it's at, as we'll see at some stage later. But anyway, EPC and CTR, I must admit, I had someone ask me recently, I said, why the heck do you still put these charts in here? You think they're nonsense? Yeah, I do think they're nonsense. Why do I put them in? Yeah, because other people, they just want to be able to look at them. And for some strange reason, the counter-cyclical nature of these two just blows me away. Yeah, so if we take a look at it, and I've removed all the data points and just put the trend lines, check that out. That's like, the inverse relationship is just ridiculous. Like we can see it's crossed over again at the right hand there, at the end there. So that's the 14-day moving average we're looking at for the EPC. It is now above the CTR. Wow. Yeah, like it's just craziness. And here's it at a monthly level. And once again, it's almost perfectly out of sync. Please, if someone from Google's watching this, can you please give me a call? Reach out to me or something like that. Or if anyone's out there that can actually explain EPC and CTR in a way that I can understand why it would have this behavior, then that would just be awesome. And if I hear crickets, then I know no one actually understands it either. But anyway, so we'll just move on from there. So let's take a look at the volatility. So overall, the volatility chart has gone down, and that's probably a large result. It's just fractionally down, like it's just bouncing around just there. That's a large result because last week it went up. So if it went up last week, then we're comparing this week versus last week. So it's probably going to be down a little bit, even though it's like just going up and down like that. So there's a lot less volatility compared to, say, when we take a look at this, say, area, looking at the COVID area sort of time frame and that sort of stuff, it was bouncing all over the place. But now it's really flattened off, and which is not too bad. Okay, so this is the chart where I'm looking at it, I'm going, what the heck is happening? Take a look at that. I've highlighted in blue, that area in blue, and it's just over here. These are the direct advertisers. If you look at the direct advertisers just there, they've suddenly swung up. And look what's happened to Google. Google, this is the percentage of revenue split, is diving down. Now, I don't know is whether this is just a blip in the data or this is a serious change. But there's one thing for sure. This is something I'm going to be keeping my eye on because as we can see, there's been a trend overall just going down, down, down. So direct advertisers are contributing less and less and less to the overall revenue line. Now, if that swings around again and begins to swing back up, then that's going to be groundbreaking in terms of monetization. That's something, it's like a bellwether. I look at it and I go, what's happening here? And this is what I got so excited about in my intro is this little bit of data. Now, like I said, it could be a blip. I actually don't think it is. I don't think it is a blip. And it also, there were some other things that I was interested in just recently where I took a look at, was that Facebook is getting absolutely pummeled by their advertisers right now. In particular, like Coca-Cola stepping out and say, I'm not going to advertise on Facebook, and all these other major brands have said, no, Facebook's not for us. Facebook's not doing the right thing, and all that sort of stuff. So the other question I have then is, where's all that money gone? If you're not going to advertise on Facebook, where are you going to advertise? Really, the only other major advertising network is Google. Then you have Bing, Tier 2, and also Yahoo. You've got those two, but really Google's the main one. And to see in the midst of all this turmoil around Facebook advertising and so forth, and to see obviously the revenue split go down, I wonder whether some of the tier 2 networks, direct advertisers, have picked up some of that big corporate advertising budget. Like I said, it's early days yet. If they have, that's just awesome news for domain investors because it will mean that the earnings per click rates will go up, we'll get more for our traffic, and it's good times for one and all. Okay, but let's just flick on back to what we're checking out on here. So if I go to the next chart, okay, the other thing that's interesting is this chart is the amount of traffic that say that Google has won versus direct advertisers. Direct advertisers only win a little tiny bit of the traffic, but they pay a lot for it, which is great. That hasn't changed. And that's something which has surprised me, I must admit. I thought there'd be a bit more of a blip upwards because they're paying they're paying more for the traffic, but they're not getting more. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So this is the chart which I just love. This is one of my favorite charts, I must admit. This is looking at, say, direct advertisers in red and versus Google. And remember, Google's on the left-hand axis. So it's really small numbers compared to direct advertisers paying a lot. They're on the right-hand axis. But it gives you that curve. And take a look on the right-hand end there. If you look at, let me see if I can get my mouse across there with any luck. On the other screen, no, it's just not wanting to behave for some reason this time. Yeah, but if you look at the right-hand end, you can see Google's really collapsed. It's just gone down and over this past week and a bit. And that looks like the beginnings of a trend to me. It really does. After spending this whole time going up, 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 up for normalized RPM, paying more, suddenly it's going down. Well, the direct advertising has been roughly flat. If you look there, it's been roughly flat. And that's just fascinating. So let's just zoom in on that data a bit, that last couple of weeks. When you look at the last couple of weeks, then once again, don't get confused between the axes. The direct advertisers and Google are both sort of going down. They're going down. The trend is downwards, but Google is actually, as we saw in the previous chart, going down quite a bit faster. Yeah, so we've got to keep an eye on this data because this is like I said, this is something that I get excited about. Other people get excited about, say, going surfing or or they get excited about, say, meeting their girlfriend or whatever it is. Me, I get excited about numbers and looking at the numbers and trying to understand what they're saying, because it's through understanding of the numbers that we can make some really good, wise decisions moving forward. So let's take a look at this one. This is the volatility. And take a look at Google. Google just dug a great big hole. And the direct advertisers inversely came up, and then they fell back again. They typically go in a cycle, the direct advertising networks. But is Google coming back up? Yeah, like it's still contracting. And that's the interesting thing. Yeah, so interesting times. It really is very interesting times. It's something which I'm finding fascinating of what's actually happening, because with the whole sort of COVID situation around the world, we're in uncharted waters. Like it used to be, you knew exactly what's going to happen the Northern Hemisphere summer, and everyone just like went along and said, "Hey, that's wonderful." And I must admit, the Tenant Park logic sort of got really excited, because that means we could focus on doing development because everyone's on holidays and all that sort of stuff. That's not happening this time. It really isn't happening, because COVID's changed everything. And then you got these massive changes with like what's happening with Facebook and obviously Instagram and so forth, like their other properties. And you wonder, wow, what's going on in the online advertising world, and how can we take advantage of it? How can we make decisions which are different? And this is why I love the numbers, because the numbers are an aggregate sense of human behavior. That's what I love about the numbers. What we're doing as domain investors is looking at real human behavior, and we're seeing what real human behavior is actually doing. And that's what I love. It's like studying psychology, like social psychology, every single day, and seeing the way people behave and react in real time. You're not doing surveys or something like that. You're actually seeing real human behavior. And I just love all this. It gets me pretty excited, as you probably noticed. And so hopefully, like, it's going to be really interesting to see this coming week and what's going to happen with the data. So whatever you do, don't miss out on next week's video. It's something I'm hanging out for. So in 1 week's time, what is it? Same whiz bang channel, same whiz bang time. But anyway, thanks a lot for that. I hope you enjoyed this week and you find that this data is really interesting for you. Thanks a lot. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that video and you find them really valuable for your business and helping you make better decisions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or pass the video on to your friends. Anyway, thanks a lot for that. Have a great day. Bye.